you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Now this, do you know another verse? It was Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee.
Thank you. It takes longer here to put the scenery back than it was last week. Anyway, I don't know if you've noticed the police on the island this weekend. The cop cars running around. Anyway, we grabbed one of the policemen. So this next play is called A Bag of Swag. Bag of swag.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, officer.
I wonder if you could help me, sir.
Certainly, what seems to be the problem?
Oh, no problem, sir. I would just like your help. That's all.
Okay, I'm all ears, officer.
Well, sir, I was wondering if you had, by any chance, seen any cat burglars or jewel thieves about.
Cat burglars or jewel thieves? Now there's a question.
Indeed, sir. But where is the answer?
Well, officer, I think I can categorically say that I've seen neither cat burglar nor jewel thief thus far this evening.
I see, sir. You would know one if you saw one, would you, sir?
Oh, almost certainly, officer. Just like in the movies, they're usually dressed in a striped shirt, wearing a Lone Ranger mask and carrying a bag of swag over their shoulder.
I see. And you say you haven't seen anyone dressed like that this evening?
Certainly not. No. No. Wait a moment. Now you mention it, I do recall seeing someone like that earlier this evening. Yes. I just happened to be passing a jeweler's shop and occasioned to glance in the window, and there inside was this person looking back at me, dressed just as you say.
Well, I didn't say, sir. You did.
I did? Oh, well, he was dressed just like that anyway.
You don't think this was a reflection, do you, sir?
A reflection? Ah, a reflection on what, officer? Today's fashions, perhaps.
No, sir. Not a reflection on what. A reflection of what?
Oh, I see. A reflection of what?
Well, of you, sir. After all, you are dressed as we have discussed.
Oh, that sort of reflection. Now I see what you're getting at. You know, you need to express yourself a little clearer, then we wouldn't have these misunderstandings now, would we?
Possibly not, sir. Now, about this reflection.
Yes, well, I must admit it did momentarily flash through my mind that it might be my reflection. But then I noticed that he, or perhaps she, one doesn't like to look too closely, does one? Not in today's climate. Where was I? Oh yes, he, or possibly she, was standing there with his or her bag over the opposite shoulder to me. You see, I had mine over my right shoulder, and he or she was standing there looking at me with his or her bag over his or her left shoulder. So, it couldn't have been me, could it?
I see, sir. May I ask you to look into your bag, please?
You may ask me anything at all, officer, but why do you want me to look into my bag? I already know what's in it. I packed it myself, as one invariably says at the check-in desk.
Yes, sir, but regardless of that, I would like to have a look into your bag if you don't mind.
Oh, you want to look into my bag, do you? There you go again, officer. You see, you are still not expressing yourself clearly. You really need to work on that, if you don't mind me saying so. And, no, I don't mind in the slightest if you want to look into my bag. Is there any particular reason why you wish to do so?
Not at all, sir. Except for the fact that it says swag on it.
Swag? Does it say swag?
Yes, sir, swag. S-W-A-G, swag.
Oh, that's my son.
What is, sir?
S-W-A-G swag.
You mean that's his name?
No. Don't be silly. I mean, who in his right mind would call his son swag?
So, do you mean to say that he's actually inside the bag then, sir?
Pardon?
Your son, is he inside the bag?
Good Lord, no. Now you're being even sillier. What sort of father do you think I am? Besides, he's much too big. He'd never fit.
I see. Well then, sir, what are you trying to say?
About what?
About your son and the bag.
No, sorry, not with you. Try again.
Well, sir, you were attempting to explain to me what the bag labeled SWAG has got to do with your son.
Oh, that.
That, sir. You were going to tell me how your son fits into the...
I thought I explained that already, officer. I said that my son is not in the bag. You really need to pay more attention.
I do understand that, sir. I understand that he's not physically inside the bag. But I wish to understand how he fits into this situation.
Which situation is this?
If you recall, sir, I asked you why the bag says swag on it, and you replied, that's my son.
What an excellent memory you have, officer. I am impressed. I'm surprised you're not a sergeant already.
Well, thank you, sir, but it's not that easy.
Well, but if I might interrupt one more time, perhaps what is delaying your promotion is your inability to express yourself clearly. A point which I've already made, if you recall.
Yes, sir. I do
Oh,
recall.
no, don't get me wrong, officer. I don't mean to criticize you. I'm only pointing these things out for your own good.
Well, sir, that is most generous of you, and I am touched by your concern, but it is totally unnecessary.
If you say so.
Yes, I do say so, sir. Now, if we can just get back to the subject of your bag, I am looking forward to the prospect of you answering my question.
Of course. What was the question?
At the risk of boring you by repeating myself, I asked you why your bag is labeled swag.
I thought I explained that already, officer. I said that would be my son.
Yes, sir, you did. I recall that. But what I don't understand is why it would be your son.
Why, what would be my son?
Sir, I am rapidly reaching the limits of my patience now. For the last time, will you please tell me what the bag labeled with the letters SWAG has got to do with your son?
It's all very straightforward, officer. I really can't see why you don't understand. Let me put it into clear and simple terms. I asked my son to label this bag so that I would know what's inside it.
At last! Thank you, sir. And what is inside?
Turnips. Turnips. Well, would you like me to explain?
Yes, sir, I most certainly would. It would be most interesting and possibly even enlightening to hear your explanation.
Again, it's very straightforward. My son is, now, what do you call it when you can't spell properly? Artistic.
No, sir, dyslexic. Artistic is something entirely different.
It is? Well, I never knew that. You know, officer, you're far too clever to be pounding the beat. I can almost see those sergeant stripes on your arms as we speak.
That's as may be, sir. Now, may we please get back to the subject?
Certainly. What subject is that then?
Your dyslexic son.
Oh, him! Of course, yes. Well, you see, I asked my son to label the bag with the letters WGAS, but you say he labeled it WAGS instead.
No, sir. Swag. S-W-A-G.
That's what I said, S-W-A-G.
No, sir. You said W-A-G-S.
I did, are you sure?
I'm positive, sir. W-A-G-S.
W-A-G-S, I don't know what that means.
Well, no, sir. Neither do I.
Well, if that's the case, do you mind if I get on my way? I do have things to do, you know.
Yes, I do mind, sir. I would very much like to get back to the subject of your bag.
Well, officer, if it means that much to you, then by all means, how can I help?
Well, sir, if you recall, we were talking about your son and how you asked him to label the bag W-G-A-S.
Not W-A-G-S.
No, sir. W-G-A-S. I'm positive.
Well, officer, if you say so, but you said, did you not, that he had labeled it,
S-W-A-G.
well, that's dyslexia for you.
So it seems, sir. Can you tell me, please, sir, what do those letters refer to? W-G-A-S.
Well, of course, it's the West Galliano Allotment Society, of course.
I beg your pardon.
I said, of course, it's the West Galliano Allotment Society, of course. W-G-A-S.
And you're saying that the bag contains only turnips
Absolutely.
and not swag.
Swag? Not familiar with that one. I should explain that I've only taken up gardening very recently, and I'm not up to date on all the latest developments in vegetables. I'm certainly not familiar with swag. Some sort of new root vegetable, is it?
No, sir.
Genetically modified,
No,
perhaps?
sir. No, sir.
Well, officer, you say that with such certainty that I'm obliged to believe you. Sorry, but I've only got turnips in my bag.
Well, I see, sir. Tell me, sir, do you think it's possible for me to have a word with your son? What's his name?
Jennifer.
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 That's a girl's name, sir.
That's what I said at the christening. It's all the grandparents' fault, you see. They wanted him named after them.
After your grandmother, you mean.
And my grandfather.
Your grandfather. Your grandfather was called Jennifer.
Oh, yes, they both were. As I say, it's all their fault. Family tradition, you see.
But doesn't the poor boy get bullied a lot at school with a name like Jennifer?
Oh, no. There are other Jennifers at the school. Besides, it's not an unusual name, is it? Not, say, like Elderflower,
Elderflower?
or Cyclamen, or Clematis.
Cyclamen? Clematis?
I know, it's not right, is it? It does make you wonder about the parents, doesn't it? Personally, I blame all those TV gardening programs.
Well, tell me, sir, what school does your son attend?
Crofton House.
Crofton House. But Crofton House is a girls' school, sir.
Well, of course, you wouldn't expect me to send him to a boys' school with a name like Jennifer now, would you? He'd be bullied something rotten.
Yes, sir. You're probably right. Well, I think I'd better be going along now. I suddenly feel very tired.
Whew! That was close. I almost thought she had me there for a moment.
Excuse me, sir. One further question, if I may.
Of course you may, officer.
Are you telling me the entire truth?
About what?
About everything, sir.
Well, officer, no, not quite. I do have something to confess. I also have cauliflowers in my bag.
Cauliflowers. Thank you, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
Brussels sprouts.
Taxi.
And a few carrots as well.
Of course.
And my son's name.
Ah, it's not really Jennifer, is it, sir?
No, officer, it's not.
I thought not. So tell me, sir, what is his real name?
Sonia.
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 Well, good night, sir. And thank you.
Yay!